figures. Yeah, the foundation is about equity. So the DUC was based on equality. Everybody was treated equally, irrespective of their socioeconomic status. Whether you come from a very able family or a family that's really very needy, everybody was expected, every household was expected to contribute 20% of the total cost of the program. Then the government would come in with 80% of the total cost of the program. And this has been lost. This information has been lost among the public because the students were paying an average of 50,000. I know it was supposed to be 16, but as you had Vice Chancellor say in the past, they added field trips, they added registration, medical, and the students here will tell you, and we have a Vice Chancellor here who will tell you the average was like about 50,000. When we talk about 16,000 or even 50,000, nobody goes back to question what happened. So for example, if medicine is 600,000, 20% would be 120,000. So if the students are paying, the households and the students are paying 50,000, what happens to this deficit of 70,000? So anyway, everybody was paying the same. And so the principle was equity. We know that we are not the same. Looking around the room, we are all different. And so we wanted to meet these students at their point of need. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right, we'll get more from that. Vice Chancellor, help us understand what exactly was the challenge running the public institutions that now this model comes to correct?
Yes, with the old model, we found that the DUC was reducing every year.
Do you want to describe what DUC means?
That is differential unit cost, the cost of the program itself. And it was, that amount of money was reducing every year. And we had no hope of getting extra money from anywhere. But now with this new model, it is student-based, which means like now in Jomo Kenyatta University, right now, this morning, we had over 7,000 first years. Mm-hmm. So if you take each student and you cost the program, which they are coming to do, that amount of money will come to the university. And that will really help us. We've simulated and we've seen that in about 3 to 4 years, we will be breaking even. We could never do that with the DUC. So there is hope for us, Vice Chancellors, that in about 3 to 4 years, universities will start getting out of this very big financial problem.
Differential unit costs.
Yes.
And it was going down, you say?
It was going down.
What does that mean?
So capitation, you see, it contributed to the capitation, and that was going down. It started off at 80%. It reached 42%. By the time we started this new program, we were reaching 30%. So for us, we were suffering. When you hear universities were suffering financially, it is because of that. But now we have hope.
So in practical sense, Professor, assuming in the final year of DUC,
yes,
you had 6,000 admissions.
Yes.
So how much was assigned per student, and what was that total like?
So it wasn't much. I don't have the figures offhand.
Okay.
But it was a one-off amount of money, which was actually not enough. But now we are saying, if you give me 2,000 students, the cost of the program for each and every one of those students come to the university. The amount of money comes to the university. We have 7,000 students. So whatever each student pays will come to us.
So the differential unit costs, did it depend on the number of learners that you're receiving?
Not in a way, but not quite.
So when you say it was reducing,
yes,
down to, I think you said less than 40%.
Yes.
Why did it reduce?
No, I cannot give the exact reason, but it was reducing.
Okay.
That is our experience.
P.S., why was it reducing?
So I'll come in. So as I said, the government was supposed to pay up to 80% of the cost of the program. So the differentiated unit cost, the cost of the programs remained constant. And for the students who were self-sponsored, that is exactly what they were paying. If it, like engineering, they pay about 400,000. I know I paid for my son architecture 385,000. So that was not reducing. However, the extent to which the government was meeting its obligation was reducing because of the tight physical space. And so from 67%, it went all the way up to 42% in the past year for continuing students.
So it is the government that didn't remit resources to universities?
Yes, it was the physical space that was tight. And I will tell you that the resources that were going to universities were increasing at a rate of about 5%. However, the number of students was growing at a higher rate. And because of this, then you could see the unit cost going down. But as soon as we introduced the new funding model, the resources going to universities then following the students doubles.
Okay, we'll get more details about that. Dr. Manyasa, so universities were running low on cash. Now there's a solution. Does it solve the problem?
I think we have put so many things in one basket, and what we have is a concoction that no one now knows. The reason being that we have a new funding model that we are trying to trial out and implement, which at the core is not bad. At the core of that model is not bad, because it was based on the equity principle to say that if you are in this JKUAT, in the same class with someone whose parent can pay 300,000 in Strathmore in primary, 400,000 in Makini for a primary school kid, they shouldn't be competing with you for funding at the university, because they don't need that funding. So at the core, that is the thing. But then we have come up with other things, like imagining that this will solve the financial crisis in the university. It cannot, madam. And the reason is this, that why the universities got into financial crisis was universities refused to be open. I taught in the university for 11 years. And I was in the university when universities experienced a boom of self-sponsored programs and received a lot of money. And the government asked them, declare what you're making from self-sponsored programs so that we factor that into the capitation that we are giving you. They refused. So government estimated what they were making and decided that they will cut capitation by what they think universities are making. When the universities ceased to make the money from SSP, they found themselves in a hole. But that is not just the issue. The other issue that universities splashed around all the money they made. Yeah? Public universities are never run by fees anywhere in the world. They are run on capitation, they are run on endowments, which you people didn't invest in when you had the money. You spend the money opening up campuses everywhere. I remember telling my boss when I taught in KU, and I remember telling my then boss in 2011 or 12 around there, that if I had money at that time, I would start saving up to buy the campuses they were opening all over the place at a throwaway price in 10 to 15 years. They have closed all of them. And they have made money, they have made big losses with all of them. Yeah? Why they splashed around the money they made, which should have been in endowments, serving students today. You're not going to raise school fees and collect enough money to run a university. That is never going to happen. It doesn't happen anywhere, except for private universities, which are small for few numbers. For the public, you can't raise enough money from school fees. And let us not introduce unreasonable fees hike and mix it with the new capitation model and create a concoction that no one will be able to decipher how to deal with.
Okay. All right, all right. I don't know what the clap means. It doesn't mean that the other points are not valid. We're just having a conversation here. And I'll be getting to you because I want to hear the experiences of you as the students, but also the parents who are represented here. But before I do so, Senator Onyonka, help us understand, because you sit in Parliament and you've been there. In fact, I think you've been in Parliament since 2007. So you've seen the transformation of universities from about 6 public universities to now, I think we have over 30, if I'm not mistaken, PS, over 30 public universities, 40 public universities, imagine that. But the financing has been going down. What are your thoughts, and why hasn't Parliament intervened and corrected this before this?
Thank you, Sami. First of all, thanks for giving me an opportunity to be in this wonderful institution. The answer I want to give you is that Parliament is actually part of the problem. The scenario, Sami, the scenario we have in our country, here we are sitting in a sitting with stakeholders, individuals who are experienced, well-educated and exposed. And what are we discussing? A program that is supposed to provide funding to university students, which is already implemented, and the implementers know nothing about it. Number two, I would like to thank my brother, Professor, who was teaching at KU. I always say this, Sami, and I'll repeat it here today in front of these young men and women. Your country is broken down. Unless intelligent and clever people sit down, people of wisdom, to fix some of this nonsense you see here, nothing is going to happen. I will say this. Look at the number of students we have. Look at the families where they come from. You don't even have the data that is going to tell you where this student comes from, where his background is, what is the basic revenue that the family has got. Then people go and sit in an office, concoct some figures, and say, now when you come, decide which band you're going to be. Is it this one, or this one, or this one? So, Sami, my position is very simple, and that is what needs to be done in that National Assembly. University education, primary school education, secondary school education in Kenya must be free.
All right.
Why do I say so?
Yep.
Look at the amount of money we're giving the Ministry of Education. 633 billion shillings a year. That is the money that President Kibaki ran this country the first year he took office and his second year. The whole country. He paid teachers, paid doctors, paid lawyers, paid everybody who would run this country. That is the budget of the Ministry of Education. Only. Where is the money going?
Okay.
The
right,
money
yeah.
that you people are supposed to get as capitation for you to go to school for free is actually being eaten by gentlemen and ladies.
Senator.
And I know, Sami, it will take maybe a whole day for us to go through this. Let me explain this. We don't have data on who you are. We don't have data in terms of your revenue in your village, your home, and your family. We don't even know how many children your father has. Why? Because you're being ambushed and being told to give information which you don't know whether it's going to be disadvantageous to yourselves. Then you now are told you've passed an exam and you are going to do medicine. And the professor has said, the PS has said, medicine is going to cost 600,000 shillings. Madam PS, some of these guys who get first-class honors are coming from homes where the total revenue plus the capital and everything is only 50,000 shillings.
All right, Senator.
So, Sami, what are we going to do with this young man or young lady who is going to university, who has finished high school, who is supposed to go to first year, who doesn't even have clothes to wear? and you are asking them so that they look for senator or MP or somebody who can fundraise for them, if not a church, and then you expect that child to finish their education. We are just jokers.
All right, Senator, and
last comment,
Senator,
Sam, is this. My last comment is this.
I'll get back to you.
This thing we are calling the new model, forget about it. I hope it lasts only this year. Next year, these guys should receive capitation to all their universities. I hope we would have gotten all the data, what you're going to study, how much that BUC Madam is talking about. Every university should tell the Kenyan people what they charge for every subject, why that is so, and why the other university is charging less. We should know. We should know which university is able to provide hostels for their students. We are treating our students like they are street peddlers, and you expect excellence from them. You can't get it.
All right, Senator. And we'll get a right of reply from the PS and, of course, HELB and the Vice Chancellor. But before you do so, I want us to hear from the parents who are here. I had seen some parents at the back there. Where are you? I want you to introduce yourself and tell us where your son or daughter is studying, and if they're affected by the university funding model, what band they are, and how much you're required to pay from the family.
Good evening, everyone. Waweru Buru. I work for Jomo Kenyatta University, School of Architecture. My daughter joined Moi University. But the only advice I can give.
What is she studying?
She is studying Bachelor of Art in Psychology.
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 What is the cost of the course?
The cost of the course is around 89,000 and something, around 90,000.
90,000.
Yes.
So how much is the family paying?
The family is paying 30,200.
30,200. So you're in band 5, meaning that in band 5 you have an income of more than 120,000. Are you well represented in that band? Are you well placed?
No, I'm not there. I'm not there. I had requested for band 4.
Yep.
But I received band 5. But the best advice I can give you,
yep,
when you are doing this thing, you yep, see, in statistics,
yep,
there are two kinds of problems. There is the real problem and there is the perceived problem. So when you are praising people, there is a way you can praise people on perceived problem, what you perceive. And you can allow me to give an example.
Go ahead.
There is a day I was going to a meeting. I had carried somebody had carried me of your size. So we had gone to see a project. And when we reached somewhere, we met a mad person. But the mad person perceived I'm the richest and I'm the person they can get money from me. That is perceived. So even as you do this thing, yeah, the best way to approach it, let's get the real problem, not the perceived problem. The real problem.
Yeah. So
I'm a chairman,
the real problem, according to you?
I'm a chairman of many groups, yeah, as I work here. Somebody has just posted me something. And it's good as we discuss this thing of the model, yeah, let's discuss it from an open mind. In an open mind, somebody may earn 20,000, but has one child. Another person is earning 100,000, but has 8 children. Are we together? So unless you do, you check it very well.
So do you think when your daughter was placed in band 5, do you think all those factors you're describing were looked into?
You see, like me right now,
yep,
I'm also doing PhD. I'm doing PhD where I'm supposed to pay 200,000 per year. And the other thing you need to understand, government also stop promotion. They stop promotion. So right now you may find I'm supposed to be promoted to another level, and I understand my boss who is here.
Yeah.
But she must have the condition to promote me. So other than paying for my daughter, I'm also supposed to pay mine 200,000.
Okay. I see.
So when you check my size, you may perceive I may qualify for this, but that is not the truth on the ground.
Okay, all right. Thank
You understand me now?
Yes, I hear
And
you.
that's why, as we do this model, let's do it with an open mind.
Okay.
You see, when we do the questionnaires, there is a way you can do a questionnaire with a closed mind. You already know the answer. I also do mentorship. Tunasemaga ni kama harusi ya kurudia. Already mumanakaa pamoja, you just want. So what you need to do even as we frame our questions, let's also frame them openly as the government. And there we are going to differentiate between the real problem and the perceived problem.
Okay.
And thank for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Awero. And I want to take reaction from peers based on what he has said and what Senator Onyonka was speaking about there. Because like he says, and I understand he works for Jomo Kenyatta University, so certain things that may not be comfortable to talk about, but he's sort of insinuating that all the factors in his family were not factored or considered in arriving at what band he should be at.
You know, starting right from my brother Emmanuel here, he was talking about concussion, and I'm just wondering what people had been drinking before they came here. Because some of the things they are saying, we did look at all the factors from parental structure, the family structure, whether you have, one child, 7 children, whether you are an orphan, whether you're from a single mother. We looked at the schools that children went to, whether it's a bridge, school in an informal sector, whether it's a national school, whether it's a private school, the Braeburns. We looked also at the poverty probability index of the area in which the family lives. Like, do they live in an informal settlement, or do they live in an upmarket place? If it's a rural area, what is the poverty probability index of that area? And we have that data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. We looked at several factors, and all these factors are given a weight. And do you know how these weights are determined? These weights are determined by a random sample of people. Like here, the group is a bit homogeneous because we have university student leaders. We bring a random sample of people from different backgrounds together. Young people, pastors, lecturers, all groups together, and we ask them, how important do you think this factor is in determining the socioeconomic background of this family? And this is a scientific method. So whatever weights were allocated to all the variables in question, all of them, all of those variables were determined by a random sample of Kenyans, and that is very scientific. And it is on the basis of that then a composite variable. So it's not as simple as saying, okay, maybe you earn 20,000 divided by 9 children. We are looking at a number of variables, and then it is calculated based on a composite model.
So when was that conducted?
Ndegwa, help.
Please,
we deliver through agencies. As a ministry, we deliver through agencies, and we provide strategic direction. So it is the work of the Higher Education Loans Board to undertake this work. And so that is why HELP undertook this exercise. And it is very right for Ndegwa to tell
Respond.
you the details of what happened.
That's fine. Mr.
Yeah.
Ndegwa, help us.
Every year we have this group meeting to review the MTI for the previous year. We also look at what did we learn during the previous year. We put it together. So this group is comprised of, first of all, we start with the student leaders. We have a conference, and I can remember most of them, we met in Naivasha in, I think in May, we met in Naivasha. They gave us their feedback. This is the feedback now we came, and we formed a group of a team from COOPS, a team from State Department for Tibet, a team from University's FAD, and also a help team. And also the PS gave us some people to assist us. So we were able to sit summer as a group for a whole 1 week, and we came up with the indicators. And these indicators, they are scientifically proven. We use tools, statistical tools, to come up with this data.
Yeah.
It's not something that we just do at the, like ping pong, no. And when I hear Senator, sorry, with due respect, the work we do can be proved scientifically. An audit can be done, and you look at how we do it. The data is available. You guys, you don't know the kind of data we have. We have data for, the government has data for you. Income data is available. Social, for example, if I want to know, he said we do not even know your siblings. Now, we have NEMIS. NEMIS is the government system that registered all learners. All of you are in NEMIS, including your brothers and sisters. If I go to KRA, anybody who has ever transacted anywhere is in KRA. We're able to know your tax income from tax. We're able to know, tax from income. We're able to know turnover tax. We're able to know so many things about it. So you cannot say there's no data. Now, if you want to get people under social protection, for example, you see the MTI uses things like standard of living. If you are an orphan, orphans are the government gives them some money. Or if you are
Mr. Ndegwa, before you carry on, the specific question was,
yes,
this scientific method,
yes,
when was it conducted to arrive at the weights per variable?
We do it every year, and this year we did it in the month of May.
In the month of May.
Yes.
And when you talk about that, data from the World Bank would show that at least a third of Kenyans are below the poverty line. Where is that in the model?
That we have that information from KNBS, and we combine the information from KNBS with what we call the social indicators, like how does the family look like, for example, what is the family composition? Orphans, single-parented, living with abandoned, living from an orphanage. You are the cash social protection. This social protection is under the Ministry of Labor, and there are so many families, almost 1.2 million families in Kenya under that protection, and we have an API that connects to them. We have data from KRA, which is very comprehensive. Actually, if I give an example, before we use the social indicators, we have 8 indicators that we can almost classify you.
So help us here, because you're talking about 100 and what? 130,000 or thereabout that apply for scholarships?
Yes, 101.
Out of that, what is the proportion of learners whose parents' data is captured by KRA?
I think over 95%. And KRA does not capture just income data. It will capture anybody who has transacted on e-teams. It will capture anybody who has a business and you're paying turnover tax. It will capture anybody who has rental income. It will capture, it's a composite of data.
But
and where we have
e-teams is a new system. It doesn't have a lot of
no,
data.
it has. No, we are relying on KRA data itself, not even the e-teams is still developing, and we are picking a lot of things from it.
So 95% of the class.
Now, and you can ask, what about the 5%?
Is of KRA. Sorry?
And you can ask, what about the 5% who are not in KRA? Now, those ones we're able to get with them the way they spend. So for example, if you are in the 5% that you say you don't have income, and then we find your child is in Briban, or you're spending so much on maybe buying whatever you're buying, cars, whatever. You find you have a car at NTSA. So we know there will be a conflict and you'll be penalized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I want to hear from a first-year student here who has just joined school. There's a lady at the back there, Daisy, I think. You can get the mic to Daisy to help us, because we are looking at the various bands that are also reflective of the family background. Start by introducing yourself and telling us the course you're studying and which band you are.
Good evening, everyone.
Even
Jemutai Daisy is my name. I am a 17-year-old first-year student in JKUAT University. I am to do a bachelor's in degree in banking and finance, and I was placed in band 5.
Is that where you belong?
No,
Where should you be at?
band 3.
Band 3. Okay, how do we proceed from here? Yes.
no, she has. Should there be some information that she never provided, or she's not happy with that? But we have an appeal. We have an.
Please, members of the audience, let's allow our panelists to respond. We're looking for answers, isn't it? So please, let's listen in silence. So you want to say something, Prof? Yep.
For all the students who are like Daisy,
Yeah.
the information we gave them when they were reporting is that if anybody is in doubt about their banding, they need to see our registrar. In fact, I was walking around with him, greeting them and welcoming them. So Daisy, what you need to do is see our registrar tomorrow, and he'll be able to guide you on what you need to do. That's
Okay.
what we've
Yeah,
done.
I can weigh in.
I'll get to you. I'll get to you, Senator and Dr. Manyasa.
Yes.
But PS,
Yes.
we have not done a study to establish how many people are dissatisfied. But you are saying there are at least 12,000. Was validation done to test the tool that it was reflective of the reality on the ground?
Certainly, this is the second year that this tool is being implemented. We implemented the same model last year, and we have those students in the second year who were funded using this new funding model. And you'll tell me we didn't have this kind of conversations. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Dr. Manyasa, your reflections on what's going on?
One, I don't really want to buy what Ndegwa said, that they have all this information about these students, because if they had, they would not need to ask these students to go to cyber cafes and fill the information they are saying is inadequate. I think, to me, and I don't want us to divert from here, because we need to find direction. The direction is that we have a means testing tool that has not been tested itself. And that is where the challenge is. That means testing tool is not a robust tool. It's not able to determine where a learner belongs, and that's why you have so many learners saying they are in the bands where they don't belong. That is number one. Number two, the bands are too narrow at the bottom unless we are trying to shirk the responsibility of paying and hoping that we can raise school fees to run universities, which is not possible. Three, I think universities need to explain why, if you're going to study a BCom, for which the university gives you only the lecturer's time, yeah? And many of them are using part-timers and not paying them. For which the university is only giving you the lecturer's time, why it should be 300,000 anywhere? Because the government is still paying lecturers. You are not a private university that is hiring your own lecturers. You have lecturers paid by government. So why are you charging a student 300,000? Are we pricing courses because of perceived idea that those courses are marketable? Or are we attaching what is the true value that the university needs? Thirdly, we need to understand that these are public institutions, and these are Kenyan children, in whom we have an interest as a society to make sure that we invest to get the best out of them, because they are the Kenyans of now and tomorrow. Yeah, It is in our best interest to make the best investment possible in them. If we start to think like World Bank was thinking in 1985, to say higher education confers private benefits, so the private individual should pay, what will happen to this country when majority of these brilliant Kenyans cannot pay?
Right.
And they cannot therefore find themselves benefiting from higher education? I think that we have a problem. And it is, these young men and women are very intelligent. I taught in the university, and I used to tell my class all the time that in a class of 40, I believe there is someone whose IQ is above mine. The only difference is that I'm more trained, that's why I'm teaching them. Let us not assume they cannot understand the confusion we are creating about their futures. They actually understand properly. And it will be in a forum like this, it is important that we own up where there are gaps, we reason together on how we fill those gaps, and find ways to make sure that we are not destroying our higher education. There's no society that has ever developed without a properly functioning higher education system, because that is what develops societies.
Okay. I just want to clarify that, and this is to you, Professor. So the students will pay the school fees, plus the scholarship, plus the loan from HELB, but that is just for lecturers' time. Who pays the lecturers?
Okay, now that is where now I want to differ with him a little bit.
Okay.
Because with this new funding model, what the student is getting is a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from the scholarship, there is also the HELB loan.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing that he's supposed to do is his parent or guardian or sponsor or whoever is supposed to pay what we are calling household.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can tell you for sure, Sam, that for the current second years, the ones going to second year now, my university received all the money. They received the scholarship in full. They received the HELB in full. The ministry advised we allow them to do examinations without paying house help. And we would be able to, household, we should ask them to pay slowly. So right now we are asking them as they are coming back, please pay as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other money we received, and we've seen a little bit of difference in the amount of money we have in the university. And I'll tell you this, Sam, as a professor and the vice chancellor, and I can see another vice chancellor, my chairman is sitting right in front of me.
Sure.
As vice chancellors, we want to receive these students and be ready to teach them the best way we can. So that if I receive a student of medicine, I want to be able to put him in a medicine class with a lecturer who will teach, take him for practicals, where there are chemicals, there's equipment, there's everything, have money to take him for his rotations in all the hospitals, because the funding is there.
Okay, so are you saying that salaries of lecturers are paid by the university?
No, they are paid by the government. In the old funding model, the salary actually was kind of like from the DUC. It came from that. So now we are saying, once we receive the money, the capitation which was coming from us through DUC has been reducing. It's whatever, with the first years we got, it reduced accordingly because the students were paying.
So the school fees plus the scholarship is just to run the university, not to pay salaries for lecturers?
It's also part of it, to pay salaries, to run the university.
You're confusing me, Professor.
Yes. So we have hope. I can tell you some, that as vice chancellors, when we are looking at this whole situation of the new funding model, we are seeing that there is hope. In about 3 to 4 years, my laboratories will be having the equipment, I'll be able to pay part-time and so on, and I'll be able to teach the students.
I'll come for clarity later, but Senator, what is it?
Sam.
It's on, carry on.
Thank you. I'm sitting here painfully listening to this conversation. The truth and the reality is very simple, Sam. And I have my professors here, and Madam Professor, sorry, Madam PS, when we speak the way we speak and you are in government, you think we have drunk something funny. We have not. We speak the way we speak because we want you to see the other side of the argument. Let me make my side of the argument. We are spending 636 billion shillings to run the Ministry of Education. The government pays lecturers, the amount of money that is being put aside, and this is what breaks my heart, that we are taking money from government and Professor is not able to say where the money is going to and what it is for and how it has come. But she's saying this is money we've been given to spend. And what we have said is that I want to say that I understand that the policy we have adopted is actually flawed. That is why this exercise is a problem. If you go to the international best practice, after my being in the University of Nairobi, I went to the University of North Carolina in America. America has got 3-tier system. If you are rich, your father has stolen, he has got oil, go to those big universities like Harvard, they will pay. Leave us alone. You have a second tier, which are supposed to be managed by the governorships in the states. The state adopts a university system and model which is funded by the national government. That system is cheaper. That system deals with the issues which affect that state. And you have a third tier which takes care of students who are either orphaned, who are poor, even if they are bright. If they go to that university and yet it is a cheap university, but they are A students, they can transfer from this university which is third tier to the one of first tier. All you need to do is tell these students, if you go here, this is what it will be worth. This is what the lecturers are being paid, and this is what your accommodation will be. Make your choices. If you feel you are from a poor background, the government is actually going to subsidize everything for you to go to university, but there are certain conditions you have to fulfill. If you are a doctor, you go and finish your internship after 5 years. Condition number 1, come and serve the government for 5 years so that we recover the money we gave you. If you want to be an engineer, we take you, we will accept to have you for 4 years. You come from a poor family, but chances are your father is a doctor or a lawyer, or your father is actually a civil servant, is a driver. He can raise just a little bit of money. We will give you this money for you to educate yourself. You can now go to help and borrow, and you will pay us this money like Richard Onyonka did 16 years ago.
But
After
Senator,
graduating. So the point I'm making,
there are challenges. There are challenges that the fiscal space was shrinking.
Hold on, I come to there. Kenya has enough money to provide free health, free education, free water. When President Kibaki took over, his revenue in this country, which he collected, was 710 billion shillings his second year. By his third year, when he was going to his second term, by the time he was having the coalition government, he was at 1.3 trillion. That is revenue he collected. Uhuru Kenyatta came, he picked from where Kibaki left, he pushed the money to about 2.7, 2.5 trillion, then he got out. But what Uhuru did, he made sure we've borrowed 7 trillion shillings in 10 years. And that is where our money is going to pay the debts. My argument is very simple. We have enough money. You don't have to tax anybody. Change what we are doing, because we are doing it badly. We are doing it. The system has deliberately been broken so that you cannot understand what they are talking about.
All right, Senator. Senator, please.
So my recommendation, Sami, this team that is here should come here, call some of us politicians and these students, let them tell you how they want to do it, and we'll tell you how you can do it. Last point, Kenya is a capitalistic system that encourages and allows corruption to thrive. Our universities, which used to be the echelons of excellence and intellectual capacity, has become the trading markets where degrees are sold, where food can be provided for, where the people who are lecturing are the ones who supply food and equipment and stuff to the university. I mean, these things, you know them.
Senator, excuse me.
So my argument, Sami, is
just hold on, Senator.
we reduce and stop the corruption. We rebudget the
Senator.
money and make sure 200-300 billion goes to taking all these university students and secondary school students for free.
Senator, let's be accountable for what you say here, because you've just said that university degrees are bought. The young men and women here are here to study.
Can I tell you something, Sammy?
How much does it cost?
You are on social media. I'm not saying that the universities are bought because they want to buy, but haven't you heard that if I'm a senator and I wanted my daughter, who's not able to get a C+, to buy one, couldn't you?
So
you see, Sam, the issue I have with our country.
Excuse me, Senator,
Yes.
that doesn't prove what you're saying.
Yes, what I'm saying is very simple. That data is available. I've already told you on TV. Kenyans don't want corruption to be there. These students don't want to buy a degree. The circumstances and conditions which are laid on them make it necessary for us to degenerate to the level where we have degenerated.
All right, I want us to make progress, and I'll be coming to the students, but also some of the people that are at the front here, by first looking at what the university funding model looks like for a student going to study Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery. Well, I might have cooked the title there. At Moi University, for instance, which costs about 612,000 shillings every year. So if you're in band 1, meaning that your family earns up to 5,995, then the government will give a scholarship of 428,000, which is 70% of the course. The loan from HELB will be 153,000, which is 25% of the course. The family will pay 30,600 shillings every single year. This is a family that earns less than 6,000 shillings a month. So in total, by the time this student is done, there'll be a loan accumulation of 918,000 shillings before the upkeep. The upkeep is 60,000 shillings per year. So multiply that by 6, gives you about 360. So 360 plus 918,000, you get the answer. Band 2, families that earn up to 23,670, the government will pay a scholarship of 367,000. The loan from HELB will be 183, and the family will have to raise 61,200 shillings every year. By the time they are done, it will be a loan of 1.1 million shillings. Add to that 55,000 upkeep loan every single year, multiply by 6, you get a total. For band 3, families that earn up to 70,000 shillings, the government will pay 306,000 shillings. The family will raise 183,600 shillings, and the family will pay 122,000. So the 183,000 is from HELB as a loan. Again, 1.1 million before the upkeep will be the loan at the end of 6 years. Band 4, for families that earn up to 120,000 shillings, the government will pay 244,000. The HELB will give a loan of 183,000, which is 30%, and the family will raise an equal amount of 183,000 shillings every single year. And the total loan before upkeep will be 1.1 million. And band 5, for families that earn over 120,000 shillings, the government will pay 183,000, which is 30% of the cost. The loan of 30% will be given 183, and the family will raise the lion's share of 40%, which is 244,000 shillings. If you are to look at the column on loan plus family, I mean, that's coming from the family because the students will have to pay this money at the end of the course. And you'll be engaging on what a burden it is for learners when the students here qualify. Do you have a second year student here? Let's begin with you with specs, no bias. If you can get the microphone to him. Okay, we'll get to you. So tell us your name, and because you're the first cohort that was going through, is it the university funding model, the new university funding model? Tell us your course and which band you are in.
All protocols observed, good evening. Brandon Kenago is my name, taking quantity survey. And what I can say about this new funding model, it's an hoax and it's discriminatory. And first of all, I have classmates, I have coursemates. I have coursemates who have been placed in band 5. Because someone just studied in some small private school, which he or she was paying like 20,000 a year. Now they say that this person studied in a private primary school, so he can manage paying 150,000.
What band are you yourself? What band are you?
I'm in band 2.
Band 2.
Yes.
Are you happy with that? Are you happy with that? I'm asking you a question. Are you happy with that?
Yes.
You're happy? Let's have some silence. So he's in band 2. He's happy with that. But I get your point. That you're saying that you
I'm
have
in band 2.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm here to speak on behalf
So
of...
how much? No, you speak for yourself for tonight.
Yes.
How much is your course?
It's 370,000 annually.
How much does government pay for you?
The government, okay. I pay 34,000.
34,000 per year.
Yes.
So you don't know how much government is paying and how much?
The government pays 80%. No, 90%, and I pay 10%.
How much loan are you getting from HELB?
Okay. I pay 10% of my fee, and the government pays 90%. I'm sorry.
All right. Do you know how much loan you're paying? You're taking?
Yes.
Do you know how much loan you're getting from HELB for your course?
From HELB?
Yeah.
150-something thousand.
150-something thousand.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to write something, but more than 150,000 shillings.
Yes.
And how long is your course?
4 years.
4 years. So
yes.
Before you start working, you'll have a loan of 600,000 plus upkeep.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Another hand from second year. There was a hand at the very back. The gentleman in black jacket or thereabout. Well, I mean at the back, but it's okay. He's already upstanding. What's your course? You're in second year, right?
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Call me Sam Blaze Otieno, and I'm in JKUAT. I'm taking bachelor's in supply chain management. I'm in my 2.1. And let me tell you something. Sam, if I may ask you, you have the details there.
I have what?
The details there, you've just read them.
Uh-huh.
Which band is paying, which student is receiving 20,000 shillings per semester as his HELB loan, upkeep?
Well, I don't see
Which band is that?
Well, unless you're talking about HELB loan of 20,000.
Yes.
It depends on the course.
Let's say 107,000.
Sorry?
187,000. There's the amount of money I pay for my annually for my cost fee.
From your family?
No, that is the total amount.
The total cost of the course is 187.
Yeah, my household fee is 60,000 shillings.
60,000 family.
Yeah.
So you don't know what band that is, yeah?
Yeah, you know, when I was doing an input in my updates over my profile.
Yeah.
I indicated that my mother is let's say
single parent.
I have a single parent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was surprised to hear that I'm in band 4, if that is the thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm surprised that you've just read there that band 4 is a family that is earning around, I don't know how much.
Up to...
But there is an amount of money that my mother sees.
More than 70,000.
My mother, if I may, to add the amount of money she has touched for 5 years. That is when you can find that money. Let me tell you one thing. Let me say one thing, and this one has...
So just before you carry on, Otieno, so how are you raising the 60,000?
I have to do fundraisings. I have to look for people who can help me. And if it doesn't happen, I'll have not to do my exams. And that is the truth, the stand-up. Because right now, even if I go to register my units in the portal, I have to ensure that I've cleared the school fees. Now, Sam, I am a class rep. And it is very painful that my fellow classmates are dropping because they cannot satisfy by paying the school fees. It is very hurtful. Secondly, if I may ask, in the next 15 years, will there be education in this Kenya? Will there be? If the other day I was very much optimistic when I heard that the president was meeting the students' leaders, I said at least now we are going to be talked to. But I was surprised because, after this, I just got an information from one of my classmates that there is an increment in the school fees. Can you go and check?
Okay. All right, Otieno.
Now,
yes, and I want us to make progress.
Pardon?
I think you've made your point, and I want us to make progress.
Lastly.
lastly.
Yeah, the lastly.
Okay.
Okay. The lastly. Let us be honest and trustworthy. Let us be people who can be accountable for information. I don't know the name that I can refer to him, but he said that We don't know the information that we want to speak about, and that is why we are here. We want to know those information.
Okay,
please tell us so that we can be able to know.
Fair point. And I don't know if Mr. Munari would want to speak to this conversation, because there's emerging a situation here about financing of universities. You'll be telling us shortly about how much exactly it would require to run universities properly. But I want to hear from Kennedy Achesa here, who has also been very vocal about this particular model. Based on the feedback you're receiving from the students affected, what do you make of it?
First, before I got the feedback of the students, listening to the panelists, you can easily tell where the problem is. When the PS made the statement and the gentleman from HELP gave the figures, the PS clarified and said that the appeal process is ongoing and that no numbers can be given. But the HELP gentleman had already given you the successful appeals without knowing that the appeal process is still ongoing. It tells you that the agencies trusted by the Ministry of Education to carry out this exercise are either indolent or incompetent. HELP here, for instance, they say on the one hand that they can use KRA and chiefs and that they have information about every student. On the other hand, there are the students telling us, provide us with your information. Why can't you use the information that you have from the government agencies and give the students money? And secondly, from HELP some, we cannot run away from the fact that financing higher education is an uphill task in our economy. HELP should be telling us how much they collect from the students who've already graduated. They are busy doing everything else other than their mandate. In fact, HELP was formed to help collect the loans that had been issued, but they concentrate on giving things that are very relevant. The second problem are the vice chancellors, and I am happy that their chair is here. The VCs are busy misleading the president that the model is working, that there is no problem. On the other hand, the same VCs have disabled even the application to get a hostel. You will not get unless you've made payments. But in public, they get an impression that things are working. And then these model vice chancellors will not solve your problems. What will solve your problem is your competency, your integrity, your straightforwardness. Universities are going under because of mismanagement. And the JKUAT has told us that in 3 years, because of this model, the laboratories will have chemicals. Do you mean your students are now using water? They'll have to wait for 3 years to use the chemicals? And lastly, Sam, my problem with this model is the assumptions it is based on. One, once you attain the age of 18 years, and I am an advocate of the High Court, you stop being a child. You are not a minor. You should not be judged on the basis of your parents and background. You should be judged on your desire to pursue higher education. Why then, for instance, and Article 27 of the Constitution is very clear that the state should not discriminate any person on any basis, including age, background, richness, poverty, or anything else. The reason why these students with us work hard, the reason they work hard in high school is because they want to join university and they want their education to be financed by government. Anything beyond that is not their concern. So let us, and I want to urge the agencies, let us give the PS and the ministry easy time in executing our mandate. And to this extent, I'll still ask the PS, do you think we still require higher education loans board in this country? The response will be no. It's a waste of time, waste of resources, a body of incompetent and indolent Kenyans seated to collect the information that they have and mislead government into believing that this model is working.
Okay. All right. I'll get to you. I'll get to you, Monari, shortly. But let's first, because there are a bit of issues that are coming up from the students who feel they are still wrongly banded. And I know you've been talking about there's an appeals process. But then again, the article that he refers to, Article 27 of the Constitution, which I want to refer to just briefly, if my notes will allow me. And every person is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and equal benefit of the law. Sub-Article 2 says equality includes the full and equal enjoyment of all rights and fundamental freedoms. Article 43 talks about the socioeconomic rights of Kenyans. What is the Ministry of Education's interpretation of that in the context of university funding?
Our interpretation is that every student, irrespective of their background, should be able to access any program they qualify for, irrespective of cost. Very consistent with the article you've read.
Irrespective of the cost?
Yeah.
So when you're giving scholarships, what resources are you using?
Government.
Which is taxes?
Yes.
Who pays taxes?
The public.
So if the families or the students that come from band 4, 5, whose families supposedly earn at least 120,000 shillings, or up to 120,000 shillings for band 4, and band 5 more than 120,000 shillings, they contribute a bigger chunk to the tax collection in the country, isn't it?
Yes, they do.
So when the same children from those families are required to pay higher school fees because their parents earned more and paid higher taxes, is that equality?
It is. Don't look at this. No, don't look at this in a very basic way. Look at the outcome. What are we driving at? Look at the output. This is what this whole principle of equity is taking us, and we are very proud of it. Yes, allowing access by all students, irrespective of their socioeconomic background, to all programs they qualify for. If we did not have this principle, then students who qualify for medicine and are vulnerable would not be paying 30,000 shillings. And I know there has been a lot of emphasis on equality based on the differentiated unit cost.
Right.
But where was that taking us? We were living a lie, because based on equity, we were not able to raise enough money to deliver these programs in the manner that they should. And
right.
That is why 23 universities were insolvent and they were going to close. And I want to look squarely, eyeball to the students and ask them, if these universities closed, where were you going to go?
But also, Piers, we determined here, we determined that it is the government that was not remitting resources to universities.
Yes, because we were living a lie.
Okay, living a lie indeed, that you say.
Yes.
But let's still get back to that question. In your sister department, basic education, there's a fee guideline on what should happen in secondary schools. And boarding schools, they should pay a maximum of 53,000. There's a free-day secondary education financing of up to, I think, 22,000, but I think that figure has changed recently. And it goes to every learner, regardless of the socioeconomic status. Are we soon going to see differentiation of that so that those that can afford more also pay more?
I mean, you just said it yourself, 53, 40, 22, are those, it's not the same. It's not equal.
No. Let me repeat what I said.
Yeah.
Boarding schools, learners pay up to 53,000 from the parent. The financing from the government was recently 22,000. It has gone down by a couple of thousands. But regardless of which family you come from, if you're going to a boarding school, you're required to pay 53,000, isn't it?
Yes.
So why is it different at the university?
It's not different. It's not different. It is not different. It is not different. You see, hear me, okay? We are talking about the cost of the program. And so the cost of the program will be the same for everybody. So now the principle is, how do we then help them? No, the cost of the program, if it's 612,000, it is 612,000 for everybody.
Okay, what I'm
That is
saying,
the cost. So how do we help them to afford?
There's a difference, and let's face it, because the government will sponsor 70% for band 1.
Yes.
For band 5, the government will sponsor 30%.
Yes.
At the secondary school, the government will sponsor up to about 17,000 shillings. And the parent will pay the same amount of 53,000.
You're losing the argument here. In high schools, it is the same kind of education. We don't have differentiation at that level. If we lose sight of differentiation, then we cannot get this argument right.
Okay, if I'm losing it, let me just clarify. The contribution of the family in the secondary schools, according to the fees guidelines by your ministry, is up to 53,000 for boarding schools.
Yes.
Your ministry has said that families will pay up to 40% for students who come from families of band 5. Band 1, they'll pay up to 5%. That's different, PS.
It's not. It's not, because we are looking at access, okay? Access to the same kind of education, or access to different programs which cost differently. And in that manner, the interventions are different. And those different interventions are aimed at facilitating access to that same program across the board, irrespective of
I will take
background.
your word that you're saying they are the same, but they are different.
The programs are different. The cost of the programs are different. The interventions should be different.
Vice Chancellor, there was a question, I think it was Otieno, I may forget who it was, about, okay, I think I lose it. But let's first hear from Munari on how much it should cost universities to run properly in this country.
Thank you very much, Sam, and thank you for inviting me and asking me that question. First, let me clarify that the cost of these programs, the universities were kind enough to give a discount of 15% for each program across board. So the actual cost of, let's say, medicine was 720, and the universities are now charging 612,000.
Okay.
That means across the board, the universities were able to give a discount of 15%.
They gave willingly, or they were required to give?
No, they gave willingly. This is because government is the highest purchase of education, and it was a negotiation, and they agreed to give a discount of across all programs. For example, BA, the actual cost of the program is 144, but universities are charging 122. If I walk into a university that is where you undertake BA, I'll pay 144,000 today. However, because of the large scale, the number of students that government is procuring, the first discussion we had was to have that discount so that we could be able to have these students coming. After that, we have now moved. You have asked me how much it costs to run a university. I may not have the details because I'm not a VC. I will not have the details of how much it costs to run a university. But what I can say is that the costs that they are charging are based on the lecturer that is in the faculty, depending on the professor, that how much they are paid. It depends also on the number of senior lecturers who support that lecturer, their tutorial fellows who are there, and many other issues. For example, electricity and salaries. When you look at the cost of a university, all the costs and salaries are not paid by government directly. They are paid by the university. There is no university that receives money for salary directly. All the money we pay and the fees that we are paying them, that money is paid by the universities as salaries and maintenance of all these buildings and making sure that day-to-day activities run. That is how a university is able to run.
So the salaries for lecturers come from?
From the university, from the fees
itself.
the students are paying, and the capitation of that is remaining for the third and fourth years for the students who are currently under the old funding model.
So, Monari, because you come from the university's funding board, is it known how much it would take to run the 40 public universities in this country?
No, it's different because it depends on
the global figure, even if it's an estimate.
I can say that you are talking anything to about 244 billion.
244 billion?
Yes.
Okay, right. And that takes me to the question, PS, because so when you're allocating a budget, like the resources that these students will be receiving in form of help, as well as the scholarships, was it just voted by Parliament, or it started from appreciating what do the students want first?
There are trends that have been established, and so it is a holistic debate. There are many factors you look at. So it's not just a matter of need or what is available, but a composite number of factors.
So because now you're having challenges there, and there are several appeals here,
yes.
Where do the resources come from? Because the budget has already been voted by Parliament.
Money is usually availed as it's collected, and that is why we have a number of supplementary budgets along the way. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Dr. Manyasa, talk to us about your reflections, because there's a student here who said they have to do fundraising, Harambee, and I'm sure many here have been invited to many in the past 1 or 2 months.
There is even a bill in Parliament trying to ban those Harambees, so I don't know what will happen. but I want to speak a bit to the point that Monari made here about universities giving a discount on the courses. And that is very curious, because if it is going to cost 100 shillings to wash this carpet here, and I tell you I've given you a discount on that 100, what am I taking away in exchange? Am I going to reduce the soap I used to clean? Because if that was the cost, the labor, the soap, the electricity, what am I going to take away? So what are universities taking away from the programs they're offering in exchange for the discount? Because they have no other source of funding to fill the gap left by that discount. So you'll maybe under me on that. But that is a very curious statement to come from government, which owes our young people the duty to provide them with a quality education, I think. Secondly, I don't want us to lose the point on the funding model and the equity perspective. I work for an organization that prides itself in promoting education justice. There was a reason to say, let us differentiate how people pay. Because right now, what is happening in this country is a travesty. People are taking children to very high-cost primary schools, specifically to crowd out the poor from the best secondary schools. So that by the time you're going to secondary school, if you are a poor person with your child in a public primary school, they have no chance to go to a big secondary school. They find space in the day schools where children are just growing up. And I'm saying this as someone who does research on education in this country every year, and I have data. This year we had 47,000 E's in KCSE. 90% of them came from these sub-county schools, where the children of the poor are going. They are going there because they have been crowded out of their lands by children who go to Makini, pay 400,000 in primary so they can secure space in Makini, right? In Alliance, right? So the equity perspective must stay on the table. We must talk about it. We must agree that intelligence is not domiciled in the households of the rich only. It is in the households of everybody. It's randomly distributed. And we have very brilliant children from very poor backgrounds who must get a fair chance through education.
Right.
They must get that chance. If they don't get it, they will not stop being intelligent. They will continue to be intelligent, but with the grievances, and they will subvert this country. Yeah, so it's important that we do not narrow our minds. I know there are lots of people who have sat down and thought that education is something you can use to build advantage for your children, so that they rule over others, so that you use it to build a glass floor for your stupid sons and daughters not to fall below, and also prevent the intelligent ones from below from rising beyond a certain level. That is happening right now in this country, in the way we are funding education. And that needs to cease, because it's a dangerous path we are walking.
Okay.
Finally,
yeah.
if you allow me,
yeah.
We need to separate government's desire to implement a new funding model from universities' imagination that they raise money from school fees and run universities. It is not going to happen. If you walk that path, I warned my bosses that the campuses they're opening will close in 10 years, they closed. If you walk this path and government continues with the appetite to play around with opening kiosks, they call universities everywhere, the whole system will collapse. And we don't want it to collapse.
All right. I remember the question, and I'll come to you, Vice Chancellor. But first, Ndegwa, so looking at the numbers there, that for a medicine student, the loan they'll have accumulated by the end of the 6 years is more than 1 million shillings. And in Band 5, it's close to 1.4 million shillings, especially if they take the upkeep loan. From the trends within HELP, how often do former students repay their loans? What is the rate like? And what would it mean for a student to clear school with more than 1 million of loan?
I think we are recovering from about 72% of the loanees, even in the current economic situation. We are collecting about 5.2 billion every year. This year we plan to collect around 5.5 billion. That money is taken back to the student, because how a loan scheme works is the students who are leaving, the ones who are paying, should pay for the ones who are coming in. Yeah. But now, because quite a number of them are defaulting, that's not happening, and we have to go to government to support the difference. So when you look at the simulation, like you've said, the 1.2 million or the 2 million, we have a way of dealing with that. Right now, the average repayment period is 18 years for these students. And after 18 years, we are realizing that from actuarial reviews, 100 shillings given out 18 years ago, we are recovering only 48 shillings because of time value of money and the low interest rate. Remember, these are subsidized loans.
Yeah.
They are charging 4%. You know what the banks are charging. I think now the cheapest bank could be charging around 14, 15%. But they're on average, most of them at around 20. So we want to, number one, extend that repayment period.
Yeah.
For example, if I can simulate with the 2 million, this gentleman, if he's a doctor, like you have said, and you know, so he will need to pay, if you divide that money with 12 months, I mean 120 months, he's supposed to pay around 177,000 per year. If you divide 177,000 by 12, he's supposed to pay around 14,000. Now, since he's a doctor, I know an intern doctor is earning about 200,000. So I don't think the burden
that is not agreed.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry, I saw it in the media, so I'm not sure also. But that's what it was. I saw them demonstrating the other day.
Well, so, doctors went on strike about that figure.
Okay, so then we are also going to have what we call income contingent loan recoveries. So that if you are earning 15,000, you pay only maybe 10% of that.
So Kingori, help us. Currently, a student finishing 6th year or final year, let's call it so, which is the highest principal you have seen?
You see, if you are like an orphan, you get 60,000 per year. So in 6 years, that's about 360,000.
So currently the highest loan is 360,000.
Yes.
And that is rising to up to 1.4 million. And you're recovering 72%.
Depending on the bud you're in. I think if you look at...
I'm saying currently the highest loan out is 360,000.
Yes, and that 360 is an orphan or somebody in the extremely needy, vulnerable group.
And that
so
same person.
If you compare the same with the current, that's about 600 for the same student. If you're in band 1.
If you're in band 1.
Yes.
But I'm also looking at a student of medicine. It's 918 before the upkeep.
918? For the upkeep?
Yeah, no, before the upkeep.
Or before the upkeep.
Which is still 60,000. So, okay, what I'm saying is, currently the loans you're talking about, they have been for upkeep, isn't it?
They're for tuition and upkeep.
Tuition and upkeep.
Yes.
Which is up to 360.
Yes.
With your new model, upkeep for medicine students at the lowest band is already 360,000. Add to that, yes, because it's 60,000 per year, isn't it?
No, that is not the lowest band. The lowest band. Yeah, correct. 60,000. Yeah, 360.
Yeah. So already you have 360. Add the loan for the course, which is 918.
Yes.
So you're talking about more than 1.2 million shillings.
Yes.
When you're doing your calculations, if you're recovering 5.2 billion shillings at the moment, and you're saying the recovery is about 72%, what risks do you see in 6 years to come?
What I know, and I want to also compare ourselves with our neighbors, is that most of the students in the East Africa region, they are finishing university at around the same figure. In fact, in some countries like Uganda, they are not even funded. They only fund sciences. Anybody's doing science. So these students, what I'm seeing the next 6 years is more students will be able to access education because the loans will be available. Imagine if the loans were not there, what would happen? Cutoff will come in, and we'll start now taking 30,000 students instead of taking the 154,000 that were taken. So we need.
Sorry. What did you say?
I'm saying, assuming there were no loans, what would happen to these students? They will not go to school. Finance will now become an issue. They can't get to school. So, for example, like me, when I was going to school, I didn't care whether I was given a loan or a scholarship. I didn't even know until I graduated, and the government demanded me 100,000. So
now they know.
So the thing is, we need to deal with the access to higher education. Okay. How do you solve that?
Mr. Ndegwa, I think we all agreed here that access is very important, but also resolving the questions, because in 4 years' time, a student who's in first year here will have to deal with a loan, isn't it?
Correct.
So what is the current budget for loans this year?
This year
that you're going to release?
This year is 28 billion.
28 billion?
Yes.
You're recovering 5.2 billion shillings a year?
Yes. We are recovering, and let me tell you we are really focused on the mandate. Recovering 5.2 billion when we have just come from a COVID period where we had a recession, people lost jobs. It's a nightmare even to recover that 5.2 billion.
Now, Vice Chancellor, a student asked, or rather a student said that they're having to fundraise. If you have few balances, you'll not sit exams. What is the clarity on this? Is it university specific, or it's a decision you have arrived at as Vice Chancellor's forum?
In Jomo Kenyatta University, we have a fee policy, and that fee policy actually defines the fact that before you sit an exam, you must have cleared your fees.
Yeah.
And those who have not cleared their fees, therefore can take academic leave, and then on financial grounds, and then they can come back and do the exam. We don't bar them. However, again, in our university, and I'm sure even in other universities is the same, we also have many ways of assisting students. For example, my staff have got what we call an endowment fund. A little money is actually deducted from salaries if you want, and that money goes into a pool, and we are able to assist needy students.
Yeah.
I know our students.
How much money does it raise?
I cannot give you the figure right now. But it does assist some, because like the needy students who don't have anything to eat, we are able to pay for them to eat, and we are also able to buy for them whatever they need.
So does it concern you, because even if the endowment fund is able to sponsor them on what to eat?
Yes, and also other things.
But they will still not sit the exam because they have not cleared fees.
Well, on the fees issue, yes. But you see, we allow them to come back when they can.
Okay, I'll be listening to Professor Mugendi here, who
Yes.
is the chairperson of the Vice Chancellor. So you can take the mic because it's close to you. And help us understand, because recently, is it last week or this week, the ministry issued directives that Vice Chancellor should admit the learners with or without the school fees. How does that affect your operations?
Thank you very much, Sam, for the opportunity you've given me, and I'm so grateful for this gathering this evening. I want to say that, yes, indeed, we are that directive, but even before the directive was given to us, as Vice Chancellors, we had already talked and agreed that, we need to admit a student to come to the university or universities, even if they don't have the full component of the household fee.
Yeah.
This is because it took a while before categorization could be done. Some of the universities even admitted students before we had given them what each household would be able to pay for the particular programs. So as universities, then we agreed that students should be allowed to come in, and once categorization is done, then they will be told what each household is going to pay, and then they'll be given a timeline to be able to pay.
All right.
And as the VC in JKUAT has said, each university has a policy on fee payment.
Yeah.
That in most cases allows a student to be able to be in school and clear the component of the fee that they're supposed to pay before they sit for exams.
So they have to clear on that before.
Yes, before they sit for exams, and there's good reasons why this needs to be done.
And when they're unable to clear, what happens?
When they're unable to clear, as again she's saying, we have most of the universities have that policy where then students are allowed to take academic leave.
But at that time, you've already received the scholarship from the government.
Yes.
And the loan from HELP for these students.
Yes.
And they're losing.
Who's?
And they're losing because they'll have to repay that loan, which you've already received.
Yes,
but they have to take a break.
They will take a break, but they will come back and do the exam.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, they're not very happy. I want us to take some closing questions. And I know there are many hands. I just don't know how I haven't had a lot of ladies. Oh, yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
All protocols observed. Good evening. My name is Faith Wamaida. I'm a second-year student pursuing a BSc in statistics. Now, Madam PS, I'm not attacking you, we're just asking. You told us you cannot give us the exact figures, and you all knew you were coming for an interview, and you knew we needed the answers that we have the burning questions for. That's one thing. Another thing.
She says you repeat your question.
What I said is this. What I said is this. You clearly stated that you cannot give us the exact figures, right? And you are well aware that you are coming for this interview way before it happened, right? So did we. So, and you knew, even considering you went and protested a few days ago, you knew people were thirsty for these answers. Yet, you're unable to provide what we came here to get. That's what I said. Second question is, when Mr. Sam was questioning you on the whole issue with the boarding school and the fee that was supposed to be paid, even when we go back, aside from the different programs, right? Aside from the different programs, going back to, for example, the course that I'm doing, I'm supposed to be paying $250,000 per year, all right? Now, that is one course, and we have many students. Isn't that the same case that you're all supposed to pay a certain amount of fees, but you're all studying one course? There's no difference. That is, I think, the question you was about to ask. And I think, Mr. Senator, thank you. I think we all appreciative of the honesty that you have.
Yeah. Okay, Faith. Yeah. That's fine.
I just want to say, we are all Gen Zs. We like our things simple and clear. That is all.
All right, Faith. So I will limit it to one question per person. And I see now there are more ladies speaking, which is a good thing. Let's start with this lady there. And or the back. I'll get there after her, all right?
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Wangoi from JKUAT Nairobi CBD campus. And my question is to the VC,
Which year are you?
Madam Victoria.
Which year are you?
Sorry?
Which year are you?
I'm awaiting graduation.
Ah, okay.
Yes, but I have a burning question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm here to represent the SSP students because, sincerely speaking, we are suffering, the SSP students. Number one, which criteria will be used to categorize those students who will be admitted as SSP students to pursue the different courses? Because, you know, for satellite, the courses are different from the main campus. If it's current, there is law. If it's CBD, there is IT, there is EPD, and the likes. So my question is, like, which criteria exactly will be used so that the SSP students, we don't feel left out? Thank you so much.
All right. I'll ask the panelists to please take down the questions so that we can take as much as possible. At the back, we haven't had a question from the back. There's a gentleman just below the stairs. Please keep raising your hand there. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Felix Omondi. I have a question here to Madam Pierce. One, which criteria are you people using in those villages to identify the needy and vulnerable students? Because I'm from my village and my chief, I think, she doesn't have this kind of information that you said. That's one. And for how long are you going to take or collect such kind of data? Two.
Just one question, please, Omondi, so that we can spread it to your colleagues at the back. Well, I'm torn between the gentleman wearing white and the guy wearing black. Okay, I'm told we go with the white. Oh, he's already standing. Just ask the question.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Just project your voice so that we can hear you. No, use the mic. It's
okay.
working.
My name is Benedict Onyango. I'm a first-year student.
Yep.
And I want to pose one question. I don't know to whom it may concern.
Yeah.
But according to my research, what I've noticed is that the funds for education are scattered in various kitties. Like we have the NGCDF, we have the presidential bursary, we have the universities fund. And I want to pose this question to Senator Onyonka because he's a parliamentarian, and I want to ask him, is it possible for all these funds to be consolidated in one basket? Because, you know, you told us education can be made free. And to me, in my own opinion, I thought in that way, instead of having all these kitties like help, because they're not working and these are budgeted corruption, because these people, you see, yeah. This is how we waste as a country, because all these help, they also demand hefty allowances, right, like air tickets, all this stuff. Because, so I want to ask you as a parliamentarian, can all these kitties be consolidated into one basket so that education can be made more easier to the people?
Yes. All right, Onyango. Now let's cross over to the left wing at the very back there. The guy, I don't see a hand at the back. There. The gentleman in, yes, in a maroon jacket. Maroon jacket, yes.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I'm Tukuni Ehud Baraka. I'm pursuing pharmacy. I'm in my 2.1. Yes, I was placed in band 5. And my parent is paying 192,000 per year. Yet, I worked hard in case I say got an airplane, I qualified for this course, doing it. And something funny, my parent, I come from a family where I'm a last born. So like my parents went to the extremes in trying to educate my elder brothers, my elder siblings. So like they took loans and all of that. And just simply because they are working they are civil servants, they are earning around 120,000 and they are telling us that they have data. What I'm trying to figure out and what I'm wondering is that they are aware of the KRA. The KRA is really much aware that it's deducting loans on this person. It's really much aware that it's deducting housing levy on this person. It's really much aware that it's deducting NHI from this very, very same person. And we know that the amount of money that they are paying to the government is much greater than somebody who is earning 50,000. It's very much way different. And it reached a point that my parent is really is earning 60,000. And I want to make something clear first. I want the PS to make something clear to me.
Yeah.
So like which criteria do you use to put all these factors at hand? Because I saw when I was applying, you're asking for the gross salary. And you very well, you know that you are taking this amount of money from this person and leaving him with 60,000.
All right.
And yet you're using the 120,000 to judge him.
Okay, all right, Baraka.
What's that?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know there are more hands than you can take, and I want to take it at the front here. There's a gentleman there. So, okay, between the three of you, who takes the question? Just one. You can agree on who. Let's give the gentleman in white first.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. My name is Dr. Shadrach Moya. I am a member of staff in Jabogina University.
What university?
My name is Dr. Shadrach Moya.
Yep.
I am a member of staff from Jabogina University and also the Secretary General of the Staff Union. Sami, I want to tell you that there is a part of the story you are missing.
Yep.
In most of these kind of hall talk you are holding, you are not inviting the lecturers and who are key consumers of this funding model. I would wish the next one you hold, you invite more lecturers so that you also get the other part of the consumers of this funding model.
But you can help us get
the reason is, when you look at this model, take a 4-year program. We are now done a quarter of the program, of the funding model. A quarter is done, that's 25%. But we are not seeing the financial position in the university at now 25% easier. Actually, this year we have seen it becoming more dire. All university staff are not paid up to now. A number of universities are on strike, on pay reasons. Like Moi University, actually the salary for July was paid on Friday. On Friday, that's what they were paid. Those lecturers also for students. They are supposed to be having children who are also students in the university, and they are supposed to be teaching them, yet they cannot even afford to bring their students, their children to the university.
Okay.
So that's another component which is not busy. We are not seeing the financial position in the universities easing by 25%. And if it was, then we would not be seeing lecturers not being paid in many universities up to now.
All right. And
that's number one. Number two.
Sorry, one question.
Yes,
maximum.
no, there's a very key one. Number two. Very key one. Now, if you have a problem, you don't dig more. We have 40 universities the government is not able to fund properly. Where are they starting new ones?
Okay.
We saw last week Nyamira. In Nyamira, a secondary school in Nyamira is being looked into to be upgraded to become a university. Surely. It's not necessary. So if you are not able to fund the 40 universities, please, PS, don't fund them. We are again the other in your office. Let's not introduce new universities if we cannot even fund the current one.
All right, Dr. Shadrach, thank you.
Pay lecturers properly and on time, like other members, like other staff in the Ministry of Education. Thank you very much.
All right, and I'm sure Professor Mugendi will have a response to that. So have you agreed who takes the question? No, just one. Go ahead. Yeah.
Rising up on a well-established protocol, my name is Fidel Newton Wandiga. I'm the president, JKUAT. due to the interest of time, I'll just outline two things. The first question is, if the government was incapacitated to capacitate higher education in the universities by giving out the DUC, the government was unable. That is why we had to develop a new model. How sure are we that the students will be able? The second thing is, I want to confirm to you, Madam PS, the new finding model is a flop. And if you don't agree to our terms that you already laid and you're aware of them, on 9th, which is on Monday next week,
Okay, so all right. No. Please, just go straight to the question. This is the last question.
Yes, I'm Wainaina Samson, the speaker JKUAT, and my first question, based on the main components of this funding, of this new funding model, it's based on the student-centered approach. So if it is based on the student-centered approach, and we are the students, and then we are being told here that we'll have to finish with massive loans. Yes, we'll have to finish with massive loans we'll have to finish based on the scholarship. The scholarship is reduced and the massive loans is increased. So I wonder, how is it student-centered, yet we are the students suffering? Then, another question, we have three components. That is the university, the government, and the students. So among the beneficiaries, who are the main beneficiaries in this new funding model? Because according to our students, we feel like we are the ones who are we are down the chain, and the university is up, then followed by the government as position 2. So we are the third ones in the chain.
Okay.
So who are the main beneficiaries in this new funding model?
All right. So allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to just get responses. We don't want to be here tomorrow. You can have the final word, Senator. You can have the final word. Final word after everyone. Senator.
Thank you so much, Sami, and thank you, the guests who are here. I want to say in strictly close to 2 minutes, the reason why I am so passionate and I feel so extremely and deeply frustrated about what my government is doing is because I am actually an example of a beneficiary of somebody who used the free university education system. I was given options. I was told, you are not very clever in class. You are basically a B student. So what subject are you going to do? Then I had options. I went to the University of Nairobi. I did not carry a single penny. The government used to give us boom, which was 2,000 shillings a month. Every semester, we used to get 6K. We could afford to buy jeans and t-shirts and videos. There was no mobile phone, there was no airtime. I then finished university. Then the IMF and World Bank, this is what these people are implementing. They came and said, no, you can't take an African and allow them to go to school because they're gonna know where the minerals are. They are going to know where the money is. They are going to know how to fix their roads. They are going to know how to take care of themselves in their hospitals. They are going to take care of their poor so that Africa can come up and grow. So where are you? You are caught and left in a catch-22 position. Help. How can help, which is supposed to be a wonderful institution that this young man and this gentleman are fighting here, struggling to explain, how can you give help 21 billion and yet help is dealing with 200,000 university students, and you give me in the National Assembly and the Senate 36 billion shillings and we are only 700 people. I hear these formulas being discussed here about, the circumstances, Uganda, they don't even provide anything. Kenya's economy is Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Somalia, South Sudan, and my beautiful Rwanda put together. You are talking about 7 African countries that are able to generate revenue. They are not able to generate the revenue that we are generating. We are generating enough money to pay for university education, all that I expect this team to discuss. is if we give you money, which means we are going to give you substitute fees. This is the course you want to do. This is the amount of money it will take you if you pay nothing. This is how you will pay it, and they have to be soft loans, and you have to pay if they give you a job. If the government doesn't have give you a job, you don't pay a loan.
All right.
If you are in your family and you are 9 people, this government or any other government before that has not made it possible for a child who's been born in a family and there are 9 people, there are 6 people. And out of those 6, 3 have already finished university and they have no jobs and they are home. That family, they sold their 2 acres of land. I know this because I was an MP for 18 years before I came to the Senate. I see those things happening to families. A country that is not able to take care of most vulnerable people is a useless country.
All right, Senator. Senator.
You guys, don't give up.
Senator,
you
that's
must
enough.
fight to make sure that there is equity, there is fairness,
Senator.
that you get the money, and this money is your parents' and relatives' taxes, and a few people are just sharing this money, and they are coming with formulas. Oh, give us 30%, oh, you do this.
All right, Senator. Senator, that's fine. Senator.
You've got my point.
Senator.
Sammy, I've finished like this. Let me say this.
Yes.
I hope the president is listening to what this debate is about. I hope he's serious. Advisors are listening to what we are talking about. The system is broken. Fix it and come and ask all these young men. Give them a questionnaire.
Okay.
Which lesson do you want to study?
That's fine,
Which
Senator.
area do you come from? Your parents are what? What are you gonna do? But then the president will now speak.
Senator, please. No. We have to move on to the other panelists because we need to get responses. No. Okay. Mr. Ndegwa, your responses. Mr. Ndegwa, carry on.
Let me start by informing Jemtai, we have an appeal process. Even as you go to the registrar, please also go to the portal, the help portal. There's an appeal process. And if you are not satisfied, you can come and see me. I'm at Anniversary Towers, M2. Excuse me. And comments.
Excuse me, please, let's allow.
And if there is any other child,
let's allow
any other child who is going through that, even through the vice chancellors, let nobody differ. If they have to differ, please let us clear them if they have to go home. Yeah.
All right. So before you listen to Vice Chancellor, first of all, anyway, go ahead, Professor, about your responses to some of the questions that were asked here.
Thank you very much, Sam. I think I had only one question.
Yep.
There's a lady, I don't know if she was Wambui but she asked a question about SSP. How do we treat, how are SSPs being treated? And what I'd like to say is that the cost of the program is the same, but the government-sponsored student has got access to the scholarship, the loan, but the SSP student is charged the full cost. If they want to go for the loan to help, they can go, but it is not part of what we look at. We just charge the full cost of the program, and they're supposed to pay the full cost.
The full cost.
Yes.
All right, so Professor Mugendi, we'll come to you. Someone get a mic to him because there are a few questions that are broader than JKUAT. But Dr. Manyasa, your closing remarks and responses to some of the issues raised.
Thank you. Let me first speak about the consolidation of bursaries, because our organization submitted this to the Presidential Working Party. And this is what we had in mind, and I'm fearful that it has become a song and it might get so convoluted along the way. There is fear about centralization. that it might lead to peripherization of other people and marginalization from benefiting from those bursaries. So when we submitted to the Presidential Working Party, this is what we asked them. We told them, do away with every bursary from the presidential bursary to the one with the MCA. Put all that money in Jomo Kenyatta Foundation because they have a history of over 60 years providing scholarships in this country. After you do that, we want every January to be told there is 10 billion for bursaries with Jomo Kenyatta Foundation. We want to be told out of the 10 billion that Nairobi as a county has been given 500 million. We want to be told that Nairobi has shared to Westlands constituency, for example, 50 million. Within Western constituency, we have so many wards. We want to know Ward A has received 10 million. At the ward level, we should have the committee that receives applications and vets the beneficiaries there, awards the amount, the whole 5 million or 1 million that they received, and then give us the names and say, these are the people who received this money, so we can verify at the ward level, so that that bursary is not given from Nairobi. Because I can tell you, and I have been from one corner to another corner of Kenya, there are parts of this country where what we have here is too much luxury. Children hear about school. I am trying to get some girls into school who we were told they cannot go to school because the father has already eaten something. They are 12 and 11. They're in Kenya. The Kenyan law doesn't reach them where they are. So that fear of centralization, and Mheshimiwa, you're here, when this law that is going to govern the new bursary scheme is set up, it must send the power to allocate the bursary to the ward. And let us see transparency at that level, so that we know who has received the money. We have had a case of governors sending checks to schools and then following up to collect the money because no one knows which children have been awarded the bursaries. Right. That needs to be sorted out. Secondly, and I'm going to be very brief, please let's not be economical with the truth and let's not speak from two sides of our mouth. I was in the university, and Professor Mugendi, let me confess to you, I ignored a lot of your memos when you're DVC Finance that were telling us that a student has spent the whole semester on campus. They have spent whatever they had for upkeep, so they don't have it. And you tell them at the end of the semester, you didn't clear fees on time, so go back, you'll have to come another semester. So who will give them another money for upkeep when they come back? To be able to stay and take the cost. If government is saying, let the students stay, let that government say, let the students do the exam. These students have places they came from. They have no interest in coming to stay here for a semester and then go home. If they didn't sit an exam, they were never admitted in the first place. If they're not going to sit exams at the end of the term, they have not been admitted. Okay. So the story that let them in without fees, but then you will not sit an exam if you have not cleared fees is not helpful.
Okay, all right, Dr. Manyasa. Now, we are almost tomorrow. Professor Mugendi, say something as well as Dr. Wahome. 30 seconds, please.
Thank you very much, Sam. I think I want to address the issue of that was raised by one of the staff members about the challenges in the universities. If the funding model, we've already received 25% of it, why is it not solving the problems in the universities? I want to say that the new funding model is really assisting the universities. It's only that it will take time. And we have done simulations and we have seen in three,
please allow Professor to
in 3 to 4 years, yep, most of the universities will have turned to the positive side of things. Okay. Right now, as we speak, by end of last year in June, we had 23 universities that were technically insolvent. Mm-hmm. But those universities now are coming up. And I want to say many of the universities have benefited because of only one court that has come through.
All right.
For example, I can say, University of Embu, that I am the Vice Chancellor.
Yeah.
I am carrying the arrears, salary arrears for my staff members for 2 years because I didn't have resources to pay when we increased the salaries because of the CBAs.
All right.
And I carried this for over 2 years. But with this only one court, by June of this year, I was able to pay for the 2 years because of, thanks to the new funding model.
Okay, all right, Professor.
So I want to say that.
Let's leave it there so that Dr. Home can take 30 seconds for real.
Okay.
Real 30 seconds.
Thank you.
So Dr. Home is the CEO of COOPS, the institution that got you here. Carry on.
Sisi vilevile sio wote ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimfuata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu wewe umetukosea.
Sasa tumesema siku ya Jumatano. Muko tayari? Muko tayari? Tumesema sisi
tunajipenyeza kwenye vitongoji, mijini na jijini kukuletea matokeo ya matukio kila yanavyoibuka. Mbashara. Tazama Sound Candid Talk kwa habari sahihi.